Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Just a quick little card using watercolor pencils. Now I have to get a card ready for one of my son's friends. He's got a party this evening to go to, and I didn't actually have any cards at home prepared because most of my cards are in the shop where I sell my work. So I thought, well, I stamped out a couple of these jukeboxes from Carmen's Veranda the other day, and I just thought that would be a really great stamped image to use for a boy's birthday card. So what I'm doing here is I'm using a watercolor pencil, and this is derwent aquatone, and I had these on my desk because I just used them in my live water lily video live stream that I just did. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to use these. I'm working on 90-pound hot press paper, so it's very smooth, and I stamped this image in Ranger Archival black ink. And now I'm taking this like lemon yellow color and going in the middle. Now I thought that these were going to be discontinued. There's only 24 in the full range. I had a set of 12, and then I picked up the other 12 that I didn't have open stock at Jerry's Autorama, but I just went and looked and they had them open stock, so I don't know if they're just selling them until they run out or if they are going out of those. But anyway, it is they're great if you have them. Great, use them if you are curious about them. I recommend them. And they're about the same price as any other watercolor pencil, but the thing I like about them is that they're solid pigment. If you can look, the stick is all color. I really enjoy Derwent products. I have quite a few of their different water soluble medias, as well as some of their color soft, and I like them. I mean, everyone has their own opinion. Some people don't, but that's my opinion. And I already picked my paper, so I'm just kind of loosely basing my colors on the pattern paper. Sorry if I say a lot. I don't know. Sometimes I just get in that kind of like, gotta repeat the wrong words all the time. I don't know what it is. Does anybody else have that? Or is it just me? I don't know. This is some ultramarine blue, I do believe. The thing I don't like about the new pencils, though, that I got, is that they've got the cool tear-away thing, so you can kind of peel off the paper as you go, so your hands aren't getting gross as you're coloring. Even though they're solid, you've got a paper wrapping, so that is kind of nice. Being attacked by my case of pencils there. But they kind of start to unpeel before I'm ready for them. It's just a little weird. They kind of stick to your fingers. They're finger sticking pencils. I'm going to take that lemon yellow, and I'm going to go over this, and I bet you could break off a chunk of this and use it like an Inktense block, or anytime, or use them like I often use these like a cake of watercolor. Color in that area too. It's been so long since I've seen a jukebox. I'm not exactly 100% sure I know what the colors would be, but that's all right. As long as I go with colors that are similar to what's in the paper I picked, I'm gonna be fine. It's gonna look great. Besides, this is for a 13-year-old boy. He probably hasn't seen a jukebox either, so I'm not gonna worry about it. And I want to get a little green in there because there's some really nice green in the papers that I'm using. I think I'll color this bottom part green. I always wanted to have a jukebox. I always thought it'd be cool. I remember when I was a kid, you'd go out to breakfast at the diner, and they had little mini jukeboxes on the table. It was so cool. I loved it. It was neat, and you could play whatever you wanted. There was like these little, you'd flip through these little menus, like kind of pages of albums, and then you put your quarter in and you choose your song. It was so neat. I always loved those. And I don't know how I managed just to play at your table and not just be a big jumble of noise. Maybe it was a big jumble of noise and I just don't remember. But I remember just really, really enjoying that. A lot of country on the jukeboxes, as I do recall my early diner days. Go to Pearl's Diner. Listen to some jukebox. Let's see, I'm just looking at my papers here to see if there's any colors that I haven't really used. I haven't really used an orange, so I think maybe I'll add some orange to, I'll overlay some orange from this red because I don't feel like I colored that very dark. Maybe over here. Once I add the water, these will be a little more transparent, so you'll see the stamped imaging a lot better. I am trying to keep within the line so I can cut it out with like a halo. And guess what, guys? My scan and cut came. I thought they were going to cancel my order. I ordered it on Black Friday from Joann's.com, and it was like $250. I was so excited. But it was just sitting there pending in process for like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. And I was just like, it's going to be canceled. Don't get your hopes up. And it arrived today. I mean, they didn't even charge my my card till yesterday. I thought that, you know, they were just going to be like, well, sorry about your luck. You don't get one. We're out. But I got it. It arrived. And I was kind of thinking I would try it on this. But I'm telling you what, I've got to wrap presents. And my house looks like a tornado went off. Honestly, if I could just rent a pressure washer and hose down my house on the inside, mind you, it would be, that's like the only way. That's like, I'm just so overwhelmed. It's like, yeah, I just need to, as Irma Bombeck said, I need a kitchen that flushes. That would be great. Nice drainage in the middle. Just hose it down. Oh, thank goodness I'm not hosting Christmas. My niece Sarah is this year, and that's gonna be nice. Okay. Well, this is pretty well colored. I probably go over that, like the kind of panels on that after I wet it down. But for now, I think I'm ready to add some water. And when I'm doing watercolor crayons, I'll either use watercolor pencils. I'll either use a water-based marker, a clear blending marker, or I'll use water. And I think I'll use water for this just because I know you guys all have water, right? You know, if you're lucky. Well, if you're lucky enough to have internet, you probably have water. So I am just gonna go around and wet it. The other cool thing is, these are kind of fun for traveling. If you're like on a plane or train, you would only need like a tiny, I mean, you could like go in the bathroom and, you know, get a cap full of water or something, or you don't need a lot, because what I find with watercolor pencils is that the pigment stays on the paper. It doesn't even really get into your brush that much. So you're just basically spreading that pigment around with the water. You're not really removing much, which makes watercolor pencils very economical because everything gets left on the paper, not in your rinse water bucket. Of course, if you like the big juicy color, but you know what? I was just saying, if you like the big juicy colors, you might like watercolor paints better, but you can actually pick up the pigment. Like, watch, if I want to add a little more green, like a different shade there, I can just go over to my colors here. All right, so this is pretty green. I think that will go nice. And I can just wiggle it around on the tip, and I can pick up a bunch of color on my brush. So I'm using it just like I would a pan of watercolor. So, and then if you want to add more color also, you could do that with the same color if you didn't have as many. And one tip is, if you're not sure where to put the shadows where your stippling lines are. That is, that's a really good way to do it. It helps you figure out kind of where the shadows and highlights would be. Like, I can go in there with some color right off of my pencils and do that. Pretty easy. And also, I recommend adding color that way if you're going on damp paper, because if you color on the damp paper, you're going to leave lines, which can be totally awesome in certain cases, like if you're making the veining on a flower. But if you are, if you're trying to get a smooth blend, it's not going to work as well. You also want to make sure you don't have any droplets of water on your brush, like on the ferrule, on the metal part. You don't want droplets there, because if you have droplets, they're going to drip down your brush when you don't want them and give you a puddle, and then it'll be really hard to correct when you're working on a small image like this. I also find that like a tiny flat brush, like even a flat brush smaller than this, is really good for watercolor pencils and watercolor crayons, because it pushes the pigment around. They seem to be a little stiffer, and they don't hold as much water, so it's kind of a benefit when you're working in something like a watercolor pencil or a watercolor crayon. I hope I'm not mumbling. I had a cup of tea after the live stream. Well, I don't know when this is going to go up. This will probably go up in a couple of days after my live stream, but I'm talking for like an hour and a half straight, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a sore throat. Can you believe it? You can talk. I can get talked out. Hard to believe. I don't think I wet that area yet, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to scoot right down here and get this darker yellow. These colors are kind of subdued. They're more subdued than I want them, so I might go over with something. Or maybe I won't. We'll see how it looks. I mean, it's not like I'm doing a boys card. It's not a boys card. It's not like they typically like stuff to be too vivid. Especially these, you know, boys like their camouflage and all of that. And let's see. Rinse my brush and do the blue and see where we're at there. Oh, and what I'm doing off camera, I'm just kind of pinching the bristles just to pull off any extra moisture. I just want to have enough to move my pigment. I don't want more that's going to make my paint warp. That's going to make my paper warp. Oops, oh, and if you if your colors run together, just blot them. That happens to the best of us, folks. This is going to be a great, nice quick card, nice quick birthday card. We all need those, don't we? Yes, we do. Oh, so my scan and cut, I'm really excited. So I was thinking, but I'm like, no, Lindsay, do not open that box until you've got your housework done. Because seriously, it's bad. It is bad. My floors, oh my gosh. I have and it's really noticeable because our kitchen floor is a black and white checkered, kind of like, you know, the 1950s style, diner style. So I like diner style things. So like not only do you see all the dirt on the white, you get to equally see all the dirt on the black tiles. So it's a 2-for-1 special there. All right, I want to intensify my colors. Now the one thing about the aquatones that I don't like is that there isn't a really good red, but you know what? I just realized I have my Prima pencils right here behind me. I'm gonna use those. And since it's not quite red, what I'm getting, I mean, it's not quite dry, I'm going to, oh, for all of you guys that have been missing my unedited videos, you're getting such a treat today. And since it's not quite dry, I'm just going to go in and pick the pigment up with my brush and bring it over as if I was using a watercolor pan. There, that's a lot brighter. I think what it is, these the aquatone blocks are rather soft, very pigmented, but they're almost like a cross between a watercolor crayon and a watercolor pencil, and I find the same issue with watercolor crayons, that I don't have a red that is super vibrant and like my Caran d'Ache. They're all very pigmented, but their red is not like a real transparent, bright red. And that's the other thing, like these are more opaque and so are the watercolor crayons. So I think when you're getting a more opaque color, it's hard to get the vibrancy. I've noticed that in certain medium like gouache versus watercolor, the gouache tend to be a little duller because they're opaque, and I just don't think you can carry, because for these things to be vivid, the light bounces through the pigment off the paper and back through the pigment again, and that's why it's so vivid in watercolor. And it's not quite so vivid in gouache. I think that's why. Now let's see, I think I might do the same thing with some blue, but I do think my blues here are quite vivid. I love how versatile these are. I wish they had more. Well, 24 is you know, it's a lot of color. You can blend them, they're good, but it's one of those things like, oh, why didn't they make more colors? Because they're so fun. Not that we need more colors, I just want them. For once they had some restraint and they didn't make everything that people would buy. That's the thing. I mean, a lot of reasons why there's so many colors available is because we'll buy them. Because we're weak and we like pretty shiny things. At least I do. All right, I'm not sure about this and that. I think they would kind of be silver. So maybe I'll just use a little bit of, I don't know, I'm gonna think on that. While I'm thinking on that, I think I want to put like some crisscross applesauce marks or something in there. Maybe I'll do green. I'll do green in the, I'll leave the crisscross as yellow and I'll do green for the other parts. I'm just picking it up with my brush because I want it to be pretty bright. Oh, I like that. That's good. I always remember jukeboxes being all like bright and lit up. I always wanted one. I mentioned that already. Wouldn't that be cool? I did buy a pinball machine though. I found one in the newspaper for $50 back when we first bought the house, which was like back in '99. It's the Spirit of 76 pinball machine. It resides in my basement down near my art studio. Kids love it. It pretty much only gets played though when we're having our big Halloween open house or the kids have friends over. My kids really are. They're only interested in it when their friends are there, probably because they think, oh, isn't that cool? Something odd and unique. And their friends are always excited about it, so that's when it gets played. It's all red, white, and blue too. I love it. All right, I think maybe I don't want to do gray, I don't think. Maybe I'll just do kind of like a blue. Maybe I'll try this. It's kind of like an indigo. That might be nice. Try to get kind of a little bit of a shininess with that. Maybe I'll use my metallic gel pens. I'll have to think about that a little bit. I'm not going to think about it too hard because it's going to go out the door very shortly. All right, well, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to let that dry and figure out exactly what the heck I'm going to do with my card. Let's zoom out a little bit. Well, there we go. This might be a stamp school video because it's pretty, we're being scrappy. We're using our resources wisely. Let's see, that's going to go on there. I'm not really going to have a heck of a lot of room for much. So what's important to have on the front of this card? I think maybe, I don't want to cover up too much of that embossing. I'm going to do some strips, I think. I am going to pause it while I do that because time's wasted. Okay, I literally just cut a couple strips of paper, nothing fancy here, and I'm literally going to put, why am I saying literally? I'm not figuratively cutting this paper. That would be silly. I'm just going to add a couple of strips of paper to each side. I like the columns. I think the columns will accent the whole jukebox vibe. That's fairly neat. And on the inside, I'm going to put a pocket because I have not had time to shop. And you know what? For somebody else's kid who's 13, that's just gift cards or cash. I don't want to buy something that's not going to be used, and I want to. I don't want to buy people clutter, basically. All right, there, and so I have room for a gift card or a bit, some money. And I'm gonna trim off the excess strips here from the back. And the other thing was I figured, well, the amount of time it's going to take me to set up the scan and cut, because I've never used one before, and get it going, I'd be much quicker to do this just with scissors. So I decided that I would save that for this weekend when I am all caught up with my work, and hopefully I have all my presents wrapped, which are sitting downstairs. But luckily, all the kids are busy until, well, probably about 8:30, so I'll be able to get some wrapping done, some cleaning done, and all will be right with the world. But then again, it is the weekend, so it'll probably all be destroyed very shortly because my kids will be home. Oh well. Such is the life. Such is motherhood, right? Yeah, well. Okay. And we're just gonna snip that all the way around. Guys, watching good Christmas movies, I always, this is silly, I've been hankering to see the movie Gremlins, because like whenever I see that, I always think of Christmas when that movie, because it takes place at Christmas time, and I just love cheesy horror movies, so I might have to watch that. I don't think the kids are old enough for that yet. I think I saw it for the first time when I was in 5th grade, and it scared me. I couldn't go near water, I couldn't go swimming alone for a while. I was just so scared of those darn gremlins. It's such a silly movie when I think about it, but oh well. And I'm just going to stick that on there and call it a day. And then we've got our little area for a card. I'm going to keep it pretty much embellishment free because it's very colorful and busy as it is, and sometimes you just got to get a card done and out the door quickly. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below and I'll try to help you out. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting!